right, so we covered Breach in the last one, and now we're gonna get to move on to one of my favorite leagues that they've ever introduced, which is Legacy. So release version was 2.6.0. It came, and you'll notice it ran for a very long time. This was when they were planning the Fall of Oriath, which was the Act 5 expansion. And so they needed the extra development time, and this was a easy league they could throw together to make it work. They added some really big quality of life with Legacy. So Sanosa now sells all quest gems once you've completed his quest, and the crest required to unlock the appropriate tiers of gem rewards. The purchase items vendor screen now allows you to highlight items by keyword, so they're searchable, and it also made the passive skill tree searchable. All of these were quality of life things that we had been asking for since beta. So it was really cool that they finally got implemented, and now everyone could get access to all of the skill gems. This was the first instance of that. So before this, to get a different skill gem, you had to trade for it. If it was a skill gem of a different class than what you had to actually trade for it until this point. So this was a huge quality of life improvement. Xena mods are going to be weird. I'm going to go ahead and remove me for a second so I go over this. So because Legacy lets you put any of them on there, it made it where you basically use the Xena mods more for basically personal preference, or to make it spicier, rather than to actually get a role other than Beyond, because Beyond was also on the map device. So basically there was 2 map mods that got used out of all of these. The ones that got used was Spiders and Beyond. All the others were pretty much ruled as garbage, unless you were trying to complete a challenge for twin bosses, then you may use that one. But we really just used Beyond for the most part, and some people really like Spiders, because Spiders adds a whole lot of mobs to the map pool. So Legacy, now this is one of my personal favorite leagues, and it's because it gave us a really big sense of being able to play the game the way we want to the game, which is really cool, and I wish they would bring that back. Maybe not in the exact same way that they did with the Legacy, maybe using a similar system, but it would be really cool to have Legacy again. So we introduced Leagestones and Ancient Reliquary Keys, and in the Legacy Leagues, enemies drop Leagestones that could be equipped to experience one of 17 previous leagues in the next zone. Up to 3 Leagestones could be equipped at a time, and Leagestones could also have magic modifiers that altered the way the leagues are encountered. Not only was it possible to obtain league-specific items this late, the Legacy Leagues often offered a chance to obtain a Relic unique item, a special version of unique item with its original Legacy item stats. They could be randomly obtained in an Ancient Reliquary by using an Ancient Reliquary key in the map device. Got tongue-tied there. So for Legacy, there's a link to Legacy as well as Leagestones. Obviously, this was removed immediately. This is the old screen, and so what you would do is you would put whatever 3 Leagestones you want in here, and then you would run maps to rent out, and then refill it over and over again. So reception and implementation, Legacy was received overwhelmingly positive and never implemented. Maybe part of that was just because it ran so long, because it ran for over 4 months. So it ran a very long time. So it could have been basically that people were just tired of it at that point in time, and so they didn't feel the need to add it back in. But it was a really well-received league. Having access to the original Legacy gems, uniques, and orbs probably felt too powerful at the time to be implemented into like the modern game. It would love if they took part of Legacy mechanic and implemented it into the core without the Leagestones. So if we just got like the 3 the 3 tiers, and it doesn't have to be like 100%, but if you had to pick like the 3 modifiers you want to interact with the most, and it gave you like a 10 times multiplier of those over the other leagues, and then you could still force the ones on the map device or whatever. But if they would give us that level of player agency, it would be really, really special. And also, I would really like to see the ancient reliquary keys again, because that was such a unique idea and it was so cool, and it's just sad that all that work went into it. They looked all foily and cool, and it was neat to be able to get some of the old stuff. I understand why they don't want to do it often. On that, maybe they redo Legacy at the end of this year, going into PoE 2 again, because Fall of Oriath was very similar. Like, it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed, kind of how PoE 2 is. And it's just because it's a huge undertaking. Both of them were huge undertakings. And we'll cover Fall of Oriath on the next one. But it would be really neat if they would take the time and implement this again. And so everybody else could experience Legacy, like just Legacy 2.0 or whatever. They could actually literally repeat this one and just give us access. You could even just cap it at the old 17, or you can introduce with all the leagues. Either one should be fine. It would just be really interesting, and it would be cool to see what people would do. Especially since with the changes and so many things going core now, the power of the league uniques isn't as big of a deal now as it was back then. So I think it's obtainable, and I think it would be something that would be really cool, and it would make a lot of players very happy and kind of help tide over the PoE 2 rush that we're kind of getting into. Like, everybody's getting a little impatient, and the reason behind that is because they're ramping up the game's difficulty substantially, and they're kind of lowering player power. And I have a feeling it's due to the fact that we're going to have 2 6 links. So we're going to have access to a clear speed skill and a boss killing skill, or a variant of both, of one skill that we're going to have 2 tabs of it or whatever, where one of them that will be our clear speed and the other one will be our boss, and there will be a quick swap between the 2. So I have a feeling part of it is that they're trying to balance around that, but they're doing those balance changes before the launch of PoE 2, which is kind of smart, because you don't want it to feel super easy at the launch of PoE 2. And this may be a way that they could test the waters a little bit, because this does inadvertently give you a pretty high power level pretty quickly. So it's not as good for the meta users. So the people that always try to play the best build, this league probably won't play this one as much. But for the more casual user, or the person that enjoys experimenting more, this league is insane, because you can combine 3 different things to experiment with at the same time, all the time, which is cool. And it made it really, really neat. But this is obviously one of my personal favorites, because I kind of went on a long tear about this, but it was really neat. It was a really fun experience. I got, I think, every Legacy unique. I think I have like 5 or 6 Bringer of Rain foiled in Standard. Like, I have a lot of them. And several of the other ones have a whole bunch of item rarity and item quantity gems as well. Just stuff that you can't get anymore. And it's pretty cool. Like, I enjoy that aspect of it. And it would be cool if they brought something like that back. And maybe they don't do the same uniques and the same items. Maybe they bring back different uniques. Or another one that I would really like to see is like Legacy skill gems. Like, that would be cool. You give me like Old Blade Flurry, like we were just talking about in Breach. That would be insane. If you gave me Old Winter Orb, I would be so happy. And so that might be something that they could do as well. is maybe take some overpowered skill gems and give us access to those again. Would be a lot of fun and make it very, very interesting. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this and you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow, Exile.